Boker Tov, everyone. Rabbi Eric Solomon, Raleigh, North Carolina. Got some morning Torah. Wearing my Yankees hat in support of the wild card, for those that are familiar. All right. So we are starting the Torah again. Parshat Breshit, Genesis, in the beginning, or in a beginning, those that know the Hebrew. God created the heavens and the earth. And if you look at that section, well, it's very beautiful Hebrew, and the translation also conveys a kind of smoothness and a kind of beauty to the language in contradistinction to other creation stories. The truth is, if you look at the text straight up, God creates the world, according to the Torah, by separating things, dividing things, distinguishing Mayim from Shamayim, the waters below from the waters above, distinguishing the heavens and the earth, the different types of fish, the different types of creatures. So in a sense, creation from the very beginning is done by dividing, by separating, by distinguishing. Even to push a little further, by things being in conflict with each other. Not having everything be the same, but actually having diversity, pluralism, you might say. That's how God creates the world. Now, I often hear, and it's not just me, but many of us hear, people will say, I'm in a wonderful relationship, me and my spouse, we never argue, right? And I mean, that's great. No one wants to have terrible, ugly arguments or ugly, or abusive or, God forbid, physical, whatever, hurting each other. But this text comes to teach us that conflict, difference, even division is not definitively bad. In fact, that is the generative force which creates things. So difference, or going against each other, if done with the right intention, will create something. And in fact, that's what I see out in anyone who's in business, or any new idea that comes up, any new idea that comes in science or in literature, or history, and the humanities, the university, whatever. These things come through people offering their great intention into the world, their thoughts, their ideas, and going into others who disagree with that. When done for the sake of creativity, for growth, for learning, that's when creative things start. That's when things new begin. That's when innovations begin. And that's how our society and our world advances, is through division. Now, that doesn't mean, I think it's powerful in the story of Breshit in Genesis, that underneath it all, there is a unity. So even if there appears to be differences, underneath it all, we are, for example, all, as we understand it, connected to the one God. We all have one soul that we are connected to, under one life force. It's beautiful. But to have division or conflict or difference is not bad. That is the energy, the inspiration. And that is what causes that tension, in fact, can cause a fire, right? You rub two sticks together, or rocks. The rubbing could be bad. It's conflict. No, another way of saying it's creative, it's generative. And so I want to encourage us to think about, as we go into this Shabbat, is that people that cry, why can't our society be more unified? Why can't we be all together in unity? Unity isn't bad. I mean, I love unity, and there are times to be united, and certainly in times of distress and difficulty, or in a war, or, God forbid, in times of emergency. Yes, we do need to be unified. But generally speaking, if we want our people, our society, our humanity to progress, it's okay to have some conflict. Done lovingly, respectfully, done in a way that's an intention to grow, not to attack the other, as the Talmud teaches, but to grow and to come up with the best answer. We want competing answers. I don't need the entire country to be one political party, or the whole country to have one religion, or the whole world for that matter. From the beginning, God created a world with diversity. The diversity isn't bad. In fact, that's what helps to create interesting, important energy, discussion, dialogue, for all to grow. I have grown as a Jew the more I interact with people of other religions. Not just because we have things in common, which we do, which I love, but also that there are differences. The way I observe Shabbat is not the way that my Christian and Muslim and Buddhist brothers and sisters and practice their day of rest. It's okay. I learn things from their traditions, and I also share with them mine. And from that, we grow. So I invite us to think about this in Parshat Breshit as you go into Shabbat. There are people that we have sadly conflict with that's done for the sake of putting down. Now, that's not what I'm talking about. But the people that in our lives, that we have differences, disagreement, some division, or even people in society, perhaps we can see them as part of our co-creators to make the world better, to advance society, and not just as our enemies, but someone who's actually helping me to grow. That's the message of Genesis. In the beginning, God separated and divided, because separation and division ultimately lead to creation. Wishing all a creative Shabbat to all and Shabbat Shalom.